Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cellular Healing TV. I'm your host, Meredith Dykstra, and this is episode 142. And we've got Dr. Pompa on the line, and today we have a special guest, Derek Lineham, and he's going to be sharing his very own testimonial of how he has worked through his healing journey using a lot of Dr. Pompa's tools and tricks and strategies for cellular health. So before we jump in, let me tell you a little bit more about Derek. Derek lives in just north of Toronto in Canada. He's currently working as a cemetery laborer and is in the process of trying to take the right steps for his health. In April 2016, he proposed to his girlfriend, Evelyn, and she said yes. They're planning to get married in February 2017, and he's so thankful that the Lord Jesus has blessed him with Evelyn. Derek is striving to be a man that God has commanded him to be.
Wow.
He's amazed at God's faithfulness through his health journey. Derek believes that God put a determination in him to keep pushing forward. He also believes that God is calling Derek to do all he can do and to leave the rest to him. He's so thankful for his parents for not giving up on him, and also for all the people that the Lord has put into his life to help him. So beautiful testimonial. Thanks so much for joining, or testimonial bio here, kind of introduction. Thanks for joining Cellular Healing TV, Derek. We're just so grateful to have you here and for you to share your story.
Yeah, thanks so much, Meredith and Dr. Pompa. Yeah, it's an honor to be here. Last time I spoke with Dr. Pompa, it was August 15th, 2013. So,
Wow.
The Lord, He's brought me far. And firstly, I want to give glory and praise to God. He has been my sustainer. He has been my strength. He has been my rock through this time. And He's allowed me to go through so much pain, and He continues to give me strength to keep going. Yeah, I want to give all the praise and the glory to Him.
Wow.
He deserves the glory.
Yeah, you know, I said here before we even got on the show that I believe it's our responsibility, I do, to share our testimony and story, right? I mean, it's when we read the testimonies, even back in biblical times, in the stories that Jesus taught, that's where we learn, isn't it? He was, you know, He taught in stories, and, you know, and it was those stories that change lives. It's our stories that change lives, more so than the facts, more so than the science, more so than anything. We hear stories like yours that really keep people with hope. You know, once somebody, Derek, loses hope, if the fight's over, you know, death is sure to follow. And it's like, but, you know, your story, I know today, will give so many people hope. So thank you so much for coming on. You know, you said in that little opening piece there, something that God is still teaching me, is complete reliance on Him, right? You know, we strive, we catch ourselves striving, you know, but it's oftentimes when we just let go and let Him that the answers come, right? And He works through people. He works through circumstances. You know, but ultimately He's working to bring us through our pain, our journey, our valleys, to ultimately give us a greater purpose, right? And that's my story, and that's your story. So I couldn't have said that better myself. But okay, I remember the conversation. I really do, back in 2013, because I sensed your heart. I did. And you know, at that time, I don't have the opportunity to work with everybody, right? And it was not a good time for me. And I think it was, you know, there was just a lot of different circumstances. I remember saying, there is a gal out your way in Santa Barbara, Kristen Rotblatt. You have to talk to her. So through my wife, I remember her setting up that meeting. And, you know, I just knew you two were a match made in heaven. Well, take us back. You know, start us back there. And even before that, I mean, how did you end up there? I remember. I mean, your life had fallen apart. So bring us back to before that, and that call.
Yeah, so I'm going to go just a bit before that. So I gave my life to the Lord about 7 years ago, and shortly after coming to know the Lord, I did a discipleship program in Lafayette, Louisiana. So the program was 9 months, and it was amazing. God taught me so much stuff, and He taught me practically through the program how to live out the Christian life. And after I came back from Louisiana, back to Canada, I think it was about a year or two later, I began to begin to get symptoms that were not the average symptoms. They started with like not different symptoms included not being able to sleep, anxiety, depression, pain through my body. I'd wake up in the morning and just my body would be in so much pain, and it's like it's like now I have to start my day, and so it's almost like around this time after doing this Christian program, God was saying to me, Derek, remember all the different things that I taught you in the program? Are you ready to apply them? Yeah, and yeah, so that began my journey of trying to figure out what the heck was happening with me. And I began to go, I guess the normal person would begin to go to your doctor, and then the doctor would send you to different physicians. And so I had blood work done, all kinds of different types of tests. I had 2 MRIs done, I think X-rays, and everything came back as negative. And so this
what
was
were your symptoms at this point?
So my symptoms at this point were, I think it was through the time it's been anxiety, depression, not being able to sleep properly, pain at different parts of my body. Yeah, and I guess like everyone can experience these symptoms. But the thing with
that's debilitating. That's where I started too, Derek. You know, I remember exactly. You know, just not feeling myself, the anxiety, the insomnia, the lack of energy. I mean, that's where I started, and it only trickled down from there.
Yeah, and yeah, I guess like everyone can go through these symptoms, but the thing with me and many other people, it's chronic. It just continues, and you're wiped out through the day, and like your anxiety is sky high, and yeah, so that these symptoms. I think God put in me just a determination to keep going and to keep fighting and to keep pushing through to figure out, yeah, what's exactly happening with me.
Yeah.
So a big thing, one of my big issues was work. Like we all have to work. I'll be 30 in about a year and a half, 2 years. And at this point, yeah, everyone has to work. So that was a massive issue for me, working, and I started and stopped, I think over 15 jobs in this time.
Oh.
And yeah, and through this time also, God gave me great favor of working with different Christian employers who, yeah, who were like so nice to me while I was experiencing these symptoms, which I'm so thankful for. So. Yeah, even though there were jobs that were a lot shorter, some of the jobs, or a handful of the jobs were longer, which, yeah, which I'm so thankful for. So, yeah, and I was sharing with Meredith some of the verses that God spoke to me through this time, so I'll just share it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, Galatians 6:9, it says, "And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap, if we do not give up." And Romans chapter 4, verse 20 to 21, it says, "No unbelief made him waver concerning the promise of God, but he grew strong in his faith as he gave glory to God, fully convinced that God was able to do all that he had promised." And another one is Joel chapter 2, verses 25. "I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten, the hopper, the destroyer, and the cutter, my great army which I sent among you." Yeah, so these verses, yeah, I've tried to, especially the first 2, I've tried to cling to and keep moving.
Yeah, you know, I had verses God gave me too, you know, that I still go back to today. This is a remembrance of God's promises, and you know, just showing me, you know, that you know He was in it the whole time, you know, and I still go back to those same verses. But like you know, I hung on to those promises, you know, so that's awesome. So let me ask you something. So we had, you know, life, like I said, got very difficult for you. I mean, you were very sick. You know, obviously life, like myself, became unfunctional. I spoke to you that day. Where was your hope at that point? What was your process? Where were you that day I spoke to you in 2013?
I guess one thing that I find you have to be very careful with, and I've always put like continuous hope and trying to figure out the next thing. Oh, once I take this supplement, and then things will get better. And I think like my hope needs to be in the Lord, firstly. So I guess roughly at that time, my hope was in finding a solution, to what's going on with my situation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So then I put you in touch with Kristen Rothblatt, amazing practitioner in Santa Barbara. And what was some of the first steps? I mean, Kristen, she has been just training with me a long time. She's very knowledgeable. What were some of the first steps? And kind of tell us that evolution of when things actually started getting better.
Yeah, so like with your multi-therapeutic approach, I found like just doing one thing or even a couple of things, it doesn't bring you back down enough. It's truly when many things are implemented. And so Kristen, I love her, and I'm so thankful. I called her into my life. She's an amazing woman.
I love her too.
Yep.
So she took me through a heavy metal test, and my heavy metal, she said something like, Derek, your heavy metal is like the least I've ever seen. So my heavy metals are very low in my body. I've also done a 23andMe test, so it seems like different bad genes. I don't know exactly if maybe some bad genes turn on in my body when roughly the symptoms began. I don't know exactly how that's happened, but it seems like there are bad genes that are difficult to turn off in my body that have turned on. So she did the 23andMe test, and I began taking, I think at that time it was like the Moors, the energy, and the bind roughly at that time. And so I've also, another big thing in the multi-therapeutic approach is diet. So my chiropractor in Aurora, Dr. Craig, he's a Christian chiropractor, and he's been so great. He also teaches like a cellular healing diet, which is really cool. That connection, and he's heard of you, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So he's been a big help in trying to figure out the diet, which is, it's been very important.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you said something interesting, that your heavy metals, they didn't come out on the test, did they?
No.
Right. And that's always a problem, because again, we expect to see normal ranges of certain metals. When we see like just barely anything show up, we go, uh-oh, this is somebody whose detox pathways are severely compromised. How did you feel when you took that test?
I think once I took it, pretty discouraged, because I was thinking, maybe the root problem is heavy metals.
And then because of that, I'm sure she focused on opening up some of these pathways. Obviously, you said you were on a lot of the cellulars, opening up the cellular pathways. Then how did your detox progress? How did you feel during the on cycles, off cycles, and how did that look?
One other big puzzle piece for me was electric. Like my body, it seems to be electrically sensitive. And so one thing that I realized was, like, in the morning I would wake up and my body would just be in so much pain. And so where my bed is on the second floor, on the first floor, the Wi-Fi router was on top of the fridge, which was underneath my bed, maybe like 4 feet underneath my bed. So it's been another big puzzle piece of with radio frequency and electric magnetic fields, of trying to bring that down and trying to figure out different solutions, how to do that. So that's been another big thing that I have really felt to bring down inflammation.
Now we're going to do a show on that, because I had a problem here in this office. That wall over there is where the electric comes in, and I was sitting with my back probably about 4 feet from where the whole hard wire of the home comes in, and I was getting headaches at the end of every day. I figured it out, moved my desk over here. I also got a thing from Robbie Bessner, who we're going to interview. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to show how the level was so high there. And it absorbs a lot of the EMF coming in. Plus I moved my distance and solved my problem. It's a big deal, especially when you're already toxic and you already have a lot of other things driving oxidative stress. That one more thing can be the thing that tips our bucket over. And these electromagnetic frequencies, absolutely, can send that bucket over. Now, of course, I can tolerate higher levels of that, just like any other stressor. But when I was sick, emotional, chemical, my bucket was so full that any stressor would send me over the edge. We have so many people who can't handle the frequencies that are around them because their buckets are so full. So the detox, how did that go for you? How was she started teaching you, I'm sure, how to go through it. It's different for everybody. That's why you need a coach. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so one big thing is I think like clearing up the radio frequency in my house. It's like almost like my anxiety was still so high. And it's like it's been a big piece in kind of bringing down the inflammation. Mm-hmm. Kristen, she helped me with the Cellular Detox, doing the on cycles. I think one point I was doing 7 days on, 7 days off, and then also with the Moors and the energy in the bind.
Did you feel during the process, was it hard at first? Did it make you feel better at first?
I keep going back to the when like my house was high with the radio frequency. I don't know if I really felt too much of a difference because my bucket was still so overflowing.
When did you start noticing a difference? Because obviously if we keep emptying the bucket at the cellular level, eventually we start to feel better, right? So when did that occur?
Yeah, so I guess it's been different steps, like trying to take grains out of my diet and being careful with how much protein I take. I'd say different things that have been implemented. I've seen a difference, with the symptoms going down. Also taking the CBT oil. It feels like my digestive system is like able to digest better.
How long, we're in the process? When did that start occurring? Was it 6 months, a year? Like I said, it's a multi-therapeutic approach. You made all those changes that you said, but when did you start feeling the difference, and what did that look like?
I think like as I implemented the different things, so maybe like we started the diet initially. I don't exactly remember the time frame, but kind of as I was starting the diet originally, like the symptoms coming down, being careful with laundry detergent, fragrances, and feeling different reactions not happening. So I would say many times as like things were continuously implemented through the last 5 years, maybe 4 to 5 years of experiencing intense symptoms, kind of at each thing, kind of feeling the symptoms going down a bit. Yeah.
Now,
I don't know if that answers it.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't know if that answers the question, but I think.
It sounds like you don't remember. I recall in my own journey, I just vividly remember, different things. When I started detox, it was rough, right? And then it evolved into where it was the thing that I needed to feel better, right? I knew I had to start a cycle. And with each cycle I would start, it would be like, whoa, cleared my mind. It became a learning pattern even to know when to go off, when to go on. If I stayed off too long, things would build up and I would start developing symptoms as the past. When I would start cycles, it would clear me again. Things came out at different levels. It really was. And I remember, I remember it was the brain phase that ultimately gave me my life back. It was just, and it took years. One of the things I always say is, it's years, not months. It's, you don't get rid of these things at the deep cellular level in months. That's why, it's our job to really not be a physician, but to be a coach. You know, you don't need treated, you need taught. And, you know, you have to learn that process because, you know, the body just lets go of things randomly. So anyways, go ahead, Meredith, you had a question.
Yeah, just to get a little bit more specific with a few things too, as far as diet. Derek, what did you do in the beginning and what are you doing now and how has that evolved?
Yes, so one thing at work, since I'm working full-time right now, my body, where I work, it's by a cell phone tower. And I've realized that I can't put tons of food into my body while I'm at work. So a lot of times I'll have just a scoop of protein and like a couple tablespoons of a good fat, and it seems to like have the least reactions while I'm at work. I've noticed when I eat too much food, I don't know if exactly cell phone tower or what it is, but my body, it seems to not be able to digest tons of food while I'm at work. So I have like a smaller food a smaller meal while I'm at work, and then at home I'll try to have a bigger meal.
Yeah, that's intermittent fasting, and you know that's exactly the case for most people. Once we train your body to be able to utilize fat for its energy stores, and that can take some time, then going without food, even for me now, is healthy. When I have my busiest days where I need my brain the most, I don't eat. And the ketones that build up during that fast are really make us fire and be able to have that constant energy, constant, you know, brain power that we need to function. You know, I did that yesterday. I just fasted all day. I had such a busy day. I had a lecture to give at night, you know, went into the lecture without, you know, still in a fasting mode. It's, you know, and that's where I perform the best, man. I mean, I think that's human, but when you're challenged, I think, you know, that's one of the things we coach. You know, how to do that, because it's different for everybody. Some people go, if I went that long without food, I would absolutely collapse. Well, that's true. However, we have to train your mitochondria to be able to do that. And once that's the case, now your energy is going towards function as opposed to digesting foods. Not to mention, most people have leaky gut. So every time they eat, they're driving antibody reactions and therefore inflammation, and they don't feel well. So resting the gut is part of the healing. So these ancient healing strategies are what we use, all, you know, really the big leverage to fix the gut and also the cell, you know, what it's doing. So what you're saying is something that people experience, and we have to teach them that process.
Derek, have you done any longer fasts in your journey?
I haven't. It seems like my body can't take it right now. I've attempted to it, but right now I don't think I can.
And how many days, like, can you go 24 hours fasting, and do you have energy through that period?
I think I can. Normally I just do the intermittent fasting in the morning, but I think I could do the 24 hours, which I haven't done too much in the past.
You know, I would mix it up. I mean, I would do some days where you know that variation. You know, just giving a lecture last night when they talk about what happens in a 24-hour fast, the growth hormone rise, the state that the body goes in is very amazing. You know, and I always say we're only really imitating what our ancestors were forced to do, you know, but healing occurs. So what we do, you know, we notice that if people can't go longer periods of fasting, then doing even those 1 day a week, doing a 24-hour fast, it's remarkable, you know, what the body does. Well, let me ask you this, just for, you know, our viewers' sake, you know, what happens when you try to go longer fast, and what have you done? Like, so have you tried to go 2 days, 3 days? You can kind of take us to what's happening there.
Yeah, I think like when I do try to, in the past, the symptoms kind of increase. Yeah, so then I don't know if it's more a mind thing. I don't know if it's just because I need to push myself, but it's almost like my body feels like it just can't do it.
Yeah, because the reason I asked the question is right there. I think I would push you through, you know, because remarkable things happen day 3. I expect people to feel, especially their first fast, right? I think because you've been daily intermittent fasting, I think, you know, in fact, you can do it. You know, it is a mental thing, right? I remember you said that on one of your past shows. You know, but you know, the body crosses over. Every one of us are designed by our Creator to fast. When you look at the Huns of people, they were forced to fast every spring. It was known as starvation spring, which is really the reason why they lived so long healthy. It was the fasting state that they did once a year. I believe that, we're created to do it, and I believe amazing things happen in that. And I always say, with each fast, you even get healthier and healthier and healthier, but it forces your cells to do things that they're not able to do on its own. So Thomas Seyfried wrote a book, Cancer is a Metabolic Disease, where they're taking cancer patients and putting them into fast. And believe me when I tell you, disaster, the bottom falls out for 3 days. But believe me when I tell you, miracles happen on the backside. So yeah, no, that's interesting. I think, for one of your next levels of healing, you have to trust that innate intelligence, and your body will do some amazing things. But for starters, add one 24-hour fast day in a week. So, and Kristen can, coach you through that. There's no doubt. So, yeah, so I guess then the other thing too is what were some, just some things that were real game changers for you along the way? Maybe it was a product, maybe it was some other dietary things. I mean, intermittent fasting was obviously one of them. What were some others?
Yeah, so exercise has been a big thing. I don't know if you guys have it in the States, but we have a CrossFit. Do you guys have that?
Yeah, absolutely. Were you able to exercise in the beginning? I mean, were you able to exercise? Because I couldn't exercise for years. I didn't have the cellular energy.
Yeah, I could exercise, which was great. Yeah, so I'd say CrossFit has been a great thing. Exercising and recently trying to change my variation in exercise has been good. Also, trying to take out grains has been the big thing. Trying to not have too much protein. Trying to increase my fat. Healthy fat has been a good thing. EMF protection has been a really good thing.
Yeah.
Also, transforming my mind has been amazing thing. And I've had so much people encourage me to continue to keep going. I'm so thankful for all the Christians God's brought into my life to continue just to keep going. And also my parents have been so amazing. And I heard it's as difficult as as difficult it is as the person going through it. It's also as difficult as the person kind of close to you.
There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. How would you say today that you're, what has happened through your mindset, through the process? I mean, I was a different person. I mean, on the other side, how are you different with your mindset now?
I kind of mentioned before, like God has just continued to help me to push forward and to not give up. So, really going through difficult times, you do really get stronger. And it's been so hard to continue to push forward, but I would definitely say stronger. Definitely say stronger spiritually and
Yeah.
Well, and I just love to add too, so speaking of the challenges of the health journey, Derek, you emailed me this morning with some hesitation about even doing the show because you said the past few weeks you've been really off track with your diet, with your health in a lot of ways. And we were wondering if you should even follow through with the show. And I said, yes, of course, because we need to be vulnerable and honest and share our challenges and how we're working through them because we're human. So if you could speak a little bit about that in the past few weeks, what got you off track and what you're doing moving forward to get back on track.
Yeah, so I almost felt like a bit of a hypocrite coming on the show, and I haven't been eating that great for the last 2 to 3 weeks. I find when I'm out and about, maybe not in my normal routine, it's easy to eat sugar and bread and so been trying to get back into routine.
Yeah, you know what? When I heard you say that, I immediately went back and I thought to myself, what threw me off track at times, especially as I got my life back, it was actually the stretches of feeling normal again, where I just wanted to feel normal again from an emotional standpoint. And when my health increased, I just wanted to do what other people apparently, or seemingly, I should say, get away with. I wanted just to be normal and do things that, I thought I used to be able to do. And you know what? Every time I regretted it. So eventually I learned the lesson, right? But I mean, there's something emotionally in us that just wants to just, do what the people around us are able to do. And I see everybody go through that process, everybody, but again, I think we all have to learn. We're called to be different. It's good to be different. And there's no pleasure in where we thought we had pleasure before. So, it's completely normal. I mean, it's like, I think some people obviously can get stuck there, but they'll regret it and they come back to. But keep those moments very short and learn from them is my advice.
So true, Dr. Pompa. I can just to share too and relate. I was on vacation last week and out with friends, and we were at a big family dinner, and we were ordering some food, and I was asking which cooking oils they were using for the Brussels sprouts. And, a lot of comments and just jeers from friends and family in a loving way, but also just a reminder too of, yes, I'm different, but I'm choosing this for myself as a 3%er, as you say, Dr. Pompa, that we are called to be different, and it's okay to be different. And it's a struggle though as well, and I get it, and I'm human sometimes too, and I don't always, eat foods that are cooked in healthy oils, for example, at restaurants, and you experience the consequences when your body's cleaner. But it's just a reminder too that we are called to be different, and it's okay to be different and to own it and to not be apologetic for being different.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I can go out and eat a pizza and I can feel completely normal the next day. Of course, that wasn't the case, right, in the past. It's like, but, I don't choose that anymore, right? I mean, your knowledge base, you start to just learn, every once in a while, great, I'm healthy enough to deal with it. But the pleasures change. I mean, I can choose, healthier things that are just as pleasurable. I mean, honestly, so point being is there is hope. I mean, you can do those things without the consequences, but to continue doing them is the danger.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I have a question just to counter that too. So what do you think of the school of thought wherein we should expose our bodies periodically to toxins to kind of boost our immune system to make us stronger? Like occasionally we should eat unhealthier foods, maybe not super unhealthy, but foods that aren't as healthy as we typically would choose to test our immune system to make us stronger.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's like, okay, so, a little bit of cyanide makes us stronger. I don't think so. I mean, I think exposing ourselves to, different bacterias is an amazing thing. Even bad bacterias, different viruses, it's an amazing thing. I mean, no doubt people that work in daycare end up stronger. Kids that are exposed to more viruses are stronger. Kids that live on farms and they're exposed to animals that are stronger. So from a microbiome standpoint, I think there's truth to it. I think that just exposing ourselves to just, toxins, I mean, we're exposed every day anyway, unknowingly, right? I mean, so
yeah.
It's not like we have to go out of our way. Yeah, I don't know if it holds up the same just with, a toxin like mercury. I don't know that it makes us stronger. Our detox pathways are getting plenty of exercise just on a daily basis. I think we need to be more cautious of the side of, let's avoid as many of these toxins as we can. But you know what? The point is taken, though. That we become this, hygiene phobic society, running from every bacteria, trying to kill every darn thing, when it's really not the answer. I mean, you can't avoid parasites. You can't avoid bacteria and viruses. And an exposure to them really does make us that much stronger. So, yeah, I mean, I agree to that point anyway. So. Well, Derek, if there's anything else you want to share, we appreciate you coming on. Meredith and I are going to stay on just for some commentary, but we appreciate you sharing your story, no doubt.
Yeah, no, thank you, Derek. Is there anything you want to say to our viewers to inspire them?
I would say just keep pushing. If you're in the middle of chronic symptoms, just to keep pushing forward and to take the right steps. It's easy just to spin your wheels. And yeah, a great quote is, it's easier to steer a ship when it's moving. Yeah, it's been something that's really helped me. And also another great quote is, how do you get through a minefield? And the answer is through the steps of someone who's already been through it.
Yeah, it's true, Derek. We can depend on God and we can say we have complete reliance on him. However, he works with those who are moving, right? He can steer you when you start moving. Start moving. A multi-therapeutic approach saved your life, but you've moved. You did what Kristen taught you. You took the steps. I know you're a big fan of Cellular Healing TV. You watch every episode. Well, I don't know about every episode, but darn many from what I've been told. So, but anyway, so we do appreciate that, and we do appreciate your testimony. And you know what? I do have one question, I don't know if Kristen remeasured your heavy metals of lately, but I bet your metals would be a lot higher in a good sense, meaning your body's now getting rid of them. So I don't know when the last retest on metals, but that encourages you to keep detoxing. Keep detoxing, because that's ultimately what's going to keep giving your life back. It's the people who go, hey, I feel a lot better, then they stop the very thing that's the most important. And that's multiple brain phases. So, get a retest, see what's coming out now. But I bet your detox pathways are now working.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. And I'm so thankful to be on the show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Thanks, Derek.
God bless.
Derek, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, no, it's it's just another lesson. It's in the fact that we have to empty our lives of the stressors, right? Obviously, that's sometimes easier said than done. Whether it's emotionally, physically, and chemically. And when we do that and we detox upstream at the cellular level, utilizing these other ancient healing strategies, that's all part of a multi-therapeutic approach that passionately teaching other doctors to do. This is the answer to the epidemic.
Yeah, it is. It's so powerful. And these stories remind us that when you take action and implement every step, that you do get results. And it's not overnight. As a reminder of Derek's story too, he said 4 or 5 years ago, he started with these symptoms. So it's been a long haul, but staying the course, not giving up, and hearing stories like this can remind you viewers to not give up, but to stay focused, to have the end, to start with the end in mind, and you will soon, you will start to see results over time, but to be patient, because, God's timing isn't our timing either.
No, and I remember speaking to Derek, and I knew that he was going to be one who would get well. There's something that people, radiate, and this, I interview everybody before I would ever consider taking them on. And one of the things, there's a couple things I'm looking for. Number one, have they identified too much with their illness? They're stuck there, right? It becomes their identity. That's a danger. I don't believe even with the perfect protocol, those people will be helped. They need to get some emotional counseling first. Then there's that person who just wants that single thing. They're looking for that simple thing, and they really, not wanting to be taught a process. So if they don't see it as something they need to learn, partake in their own rescue, I don't believe I can help them or any doctor can help them, right? It's not, when you get to this chronic illness state, it's not a treatment. You don't need treated. You need to be taught a process, of cellular healing. You need to be taught a process of these ancient healing strategies, a multi-therapeutic approach. Some people aren't open to that, so in a short interview, I can really tell, is this person really going to do what it takes? Because it is years, not months. And I think that's where most even alternative doctors are going wrong today. It's, people are going for treatments. They're not interested in teaching somebody. You need a coach, not a physician. You really do. You need a coach. Once you get chronically sick, you have to be willing to participate. And I knew Derek was that person. I knew that he was going to do anything he was told to do. I knew that he had hope. You could just see, he had hope. He could see. I resonated with his faith. And so, that should encourage people that it is mindset that leads to your wellness. And there is something that these amazing stories, these people give off, their determination, their ability to learn, their desire to learn. So anyways, I hope that helps somebody.
Yep. And I think being on the other end too, like you said, it's so important to be open and to be teachable and coachable as well. I remember one of my earlier health coaching clients came into the office and just laid down her paperwork and had kind of her arms folded and was like, okay, basically in her mind and conveying to me and saying, what do you have to say to me that's going to be different than anyone has told me before? Because I pretty much know everything. I feel like I've tried everything. You know, good luck trying to teach me anything different. And even though she didn't say that in her words, I felt that. And I knew that this woman wasn't going to get the results and it wasn't going to be the right fit because she came in with a preconceived notion that she had tried everything, nothing was working, and had just kind of shut down and wasn't open or open to being teachable and coachable. And I think as a client on the other end, that is so important, is just to being open to trying things that you've never tried before and being patient, because the results, as we know, definitely are long-term.
Well, our society, even alternative medicine, right? Our society teaches that we're looking for that one thing, right? Everyone's looking for that one thing. It's never that one thing. So therefore the expectation then, you know, is really not met, right? They're going to that doctor for that one treatment that's going to solve their problem, you know, and if that's where you're still at, you've got to change that thinking. You know, it is absolutely learning a multi-therapeutic approach to every little nuance. And it's different for everybody, even the dosing through detox, right? I mean, it's a process of learning. You need a coach. You know, I mean, my passion is training more coaches to do, you know, these things. I mean, we're seeing results that I know nobody's seeing, right? And it is completely different. One of the big things that's so different is that we expect people to learn this process. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So, well,
yep.
You know,
and you're teaching the doctors to fish just like you teach the clients. It's customized and it's not a cookie cutter protocol as many people want. And of course there are, you know, guidelines and general protocols that you offer, but every approach has to be customized because of the bio-individuality. We're all so different. We have a different toxin load, different genetic factors and ancestry, and just so many different variables that there's just not one simple answer.
No, exactly. We're going to end on this, Meredith. All right. You were at one of my favorite places on the planet, Jackson Hole, Wyoming, right? I mean, you saw the plains. I'm sure you saw the buffalo out in Yellowstone, right? What did you think?
Oh my gosh, it's such a blessing to be there in God's creation. It was just spectacular. The Tetons, Yellowstone, lots of bison, and just blessed time with family and friends. And I was just reminded of just all the beauty in this world that, you know, if ever, you know, if you're watching this too and you're down about your health or different challenges in your life, there's always beauty to be found every day, regardless of where you are, whether you're in Yellowstone or New York City, there's beauty everywhere. So focusing on the positive and the good things that are happening and what's going well in your health and in your life, you know, can be a stepping stone to opening your mind to possibility.
I'll tell you what, when you get out in those mountains, and I have that ability here, you know, it's like when you get near the shore and the negative ions are just pouring out of the water, right? People regain their health like that. You know, a good friend of mine, you know, ours, Jordan Rubin, I mean, that was what he did. He moved to the shore, and many people do that. Same with the mountains. You know, there's something about the trees, the oxygen, the negative ions that the woods and those mountains give off that bring health. So, you know, step out, absolutely. Now, I got to ask this question too. Did you have time? And the answer may be no, because I know you had your family, to go to one of my favorite little restaurants on the planet, the Lotus Cafe. Did you go to the Lotus Cafe in Jackson?
Oh, of course I did, Dr. Pompa, per your advice. And we went into the Wart as well, the beautiful hotel with the Silver Dollar Bar. It was a really cool spot. But yeah, this Lotus Cafe, if you're ever in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, stop in there. They have fabulous, you know, grass-fed local meats and gluten-free options, paleo options. It's amazing. I got the bison gravy over gluten-free biscuits. It was my diet variation treat. And we had one of the Thai bowls and just some really good drinks. And yeah, it was amazing. So stop in there if you're in Jackson Hole for sure.
Oh yeah, Lotus Cafe. And I'm sure we always have people that when I'm there, you know, they you know, see me and go, oh, you're Dr. Pompa, because they watch Cellular Healing TV. So we've got viewers everywhere.
A referral credit or be an ambassador for them or something.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So hello to everyone at the Lotus Cafe. We have friends there. But yeah, we have a lot of reach now. I was at the gym this week, the beginning of this week, and a gal came up to me and said, "Oh, you're Dr. Pompa." She watches every cellular healing TV show, and she's a little strong athlete, you know, and she had all types of questions, great questions on intermittent fasting for athletes. So we may want to do a show just on that, and even maybe, you know, bring a guest on for that. So I think that would be a great show. Because she was, you know, a fitness expert, bodybuilder. I mean, she had the physique, but she was entering into that world. She had a lot of great questions. So I thought to myself, hey, there's another great show. So, well, thanks, Meredith, and thanks for sharing your Yellowstone Jackson Hole journey. I love it there.
Well, thanks as always, Dr. Pompa, for sharing your knowledge and inspiring all of those who are watching. And thanks you guys for tuning in. Thanks, Derek, again for sharing your testimonial. And we're signing off. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah.